Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cy Huffer and Friends. This is a podcast designed to help you flourish at life and relationships. I'm your host, Cy Huffer, lead pastor at the Gathering Christian Church in Naples, Florida. And today, this episode, we're taking a little bit of a break from our regularly scheduled, events and programs, if you will. But we usually have a theme for the month that we just unpack every week of that month. But we're going to start once a month, shifting away from the theme to do a repeating once a month episode called For the One. Because as a church, we went through this journey in Luke 15, where Jesus tells three stories about a lost coin, lost sheep, and lost sons, and how Jesus' heart in the heavens heart is for the lost one. And he says this multiple times, that there's more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents and 99 who doesn't need to, over the one lost coin that's found, the lost son that finally comes home. And so we're going to once a month focus in on a For the One story from our church, of someone in our church who is joining Jesus in that mission of pursuing the one, having a heart for the one, seeing the one, and loving them, not as a project, but as a way that God the Father would. So today, it's my joy to get to introduce you to my friend, Elle. Elle, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you ended up in Naples at the Gathering, and and what do you do? What do you do right now?
I'm a full-time mom. I have a 10-month-old who has no speed slower than full speed. There is 100% go all the time. And a 3-year-old who just soaks in knowledge and can't stop taking in everything around her. They both adore each other. The first thing that Izzy asks for in the morning is Ollie, and Ollie always reserves the very biggest smile for her every morning.
That's awesome.
So it's the sweetest thing to be able to get to see them just grow in life and love each other. My husband and I have been married for 7 years, and I couldn't imagine life without him. He's the best. He's my best friend, and every day that I get with him is just blessed beyond measure. God has blessed me so much by gifting me him in my life.
Cameron asked me to make sure you said something like that. So
yeah, I'm sure he did. That sounds in character.
Yeah. He said he paid you a lot of money. So yeah, that's great.
I met him. He was my dance partner for something in college, and it was awful. But the moment I saw him, I knew that he was the one that God had put in my life. So wow. He was wearing this atrocious outfit that I will never forgive him for, and
that makes so much sense. I am so in on this story. I love it. I've not heard this. That's awesome.
Yep.
Describe the outfit. What was it?
Well, it was basketball shorts that were green. Okay. And a really atrocious color green. It was horrible. And then a purple shirt. So in my head, I immediately associated him with Barney.
Yes. Yep.
Green and purple. And I knew as soon as I saw him that I was going to marry him.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. And then so you guys were at the time living in California, right?
Yeah. We were going to university at William Jessup University, a Christian college. Both of us were youth ministry majors. Mm-hmm. And that's not how we met, though, which is so funny, because we had the same classes together. It was a really small university, and I'm amazed that we didn't see each other. But yeah, it was.
So you did ministry.
Were there were only 2 university pastors for youth ministry. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you guys so you graduated college, you did youth ministry for a little bit in California. Yeah. And then career changed pretty drastically to move you from California to Naples, Florida, right? There's some big jumps there in that story.
Yeah. I was a dance instructor for a while. But for the most part, I was actually a youth. I mean, I wouldn't say I was a youth ministry pastor. I was actually a admin for a program that did high quality arts education for youth, for super low cost, $5 a semester, really, and it was really just for them to have a buy-in. Because once you paid that $5, for some reason that transaction just makes them more committed. So as soon as you have to take out your credit card for some reason, it just makes you more committed. So $5 for the semester, and they had high quality arts education for the entire semester. But I loved that job. It was great. We were able to bring people from the community into the community center. And really, it was just to bring people into a community center that was church related, and they would have the ability to be with Christians and not feel like the world was going to cave in on them any second. So it was really just a way to get community in to see what the world around Christianity could look like without them feeling like they were going to get bombarded when they walked into a church.
So, that's super cool outreach. And it's such
it was awesome.
Intentional, like, hey, we're going to go after artists. We're going to go after the artist community. My parents are all about the arts and the artist community. And so I love that that's your heart. We connect in that for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys ended up moving from there to Naples. What was that? What brought you here?
So my mom and my papa, we lived on like a big, I won't want to say like community compound sort of thing, but it was like 10 acres of land that we lived on together. And one day my mom walked in and was like, "Hey, we're moving to Naples. Are you in?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" Because they had just built like their dream home in California.
Yeah.
And Papa had a lung condition that just wasn't great in California. And so they were like, "We're going to move to Florida and he's going to live a healthier life there. So we're going to do that for him." And I was like, "All right, if you're going, I'm going," because my mom and I are best friends. So as soon as she said she was moving, I was like, "All right, we're in." But we also had been on a journey at that moment that was really hard for us. We had been trying to have a baby for about 5 years. And God told me that the timing would figure itself out. Like he was like, I had been praying for a long time and asking God, like he had brought me through this whole journey. And he had given me the promise when I was praying about like, "Hey, God, give me a dream that is God related. Like, what am I supposed to, like, I know that there's a dream that you can give me," because I had been reading the book Whisper. And he said, "Here's a promise for you." And it was a image of this beautiful little girl. And I will never forget that dream. It was definitely a promise from God. And I had this fear that I wouldn't be able to have kids because I had a fear of needles. Like I couldn't overcome it. It was something that I just couldn't overcome. So God said, "Here's this promise for you. I need, and you're going to have to work through a lot of things in order to get this promise from me." And I worked through it all. I went to counseling and I worked hard, and I told God, I was like, "I've done everything. Like what else could there be? Like why is this promise being kept from me?" And he said, "You'll know the timing. You'll understand the timing. Like there's a reason." And the day after my parents told me that we were moving to Florida, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
So.
And so then, wow. That's unreal. I love that. And you've told me that story before.
Yeah.
But it still is just a beautiful picture of God's faithfulness in the timing. You know?
We named her Isabel because it means devoted to God. And I promised God that I would share that story whenever I got the chance and the opportunity. So
that's awesome. Well, praise God. So you're in Naples. You guys move here. You've been living for a couple of years. Said you kind of not really found a church, and then we met. You have to share our meeting story, how we became friends, because it's one of my favorites.
Oh goodness, it's definitely unique. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
it's not something that I often do. Just so you
No.
know, like, it's not like a normal thing for me to go on Facebook and be like a Facebook warrior for anybody. Like,
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
do that normally.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I posted,
No.
I mean, just to get the story started, I posted
Yeah.
in like a Naples, like Facebook group. We just moved here and I was looking to get another tattoo. And I just said, hey, is there a tattoo artist that you guys recommend? And then you take over.
Well, there was somebody on there that I guess looked into your profile. There was nothing on your post that said that you were a pastor
No.
looking for a tattoo. But somebody looked into your profile and saw that you were a pastor and said, like, pastors aren't supposed to have tattoos.
Yeah.
So,
Haven't you read the Bible?
Yeah, have you read the Bible? Come on. So, I know that it's something that a lot of Christians struggle with, like, in general. Like, if you're a Christian, you have a tattoo, like, I will never have a tattoo. I just told you, like, I have a phobia of needles. Like, that's not something that I'm ever gonna have happen to me. So when I saw that, I was like, this isn't something that I will ever have, but, you know, like, I'll put some stake into it. Why not? You know, I went to battle for this idea that
This
Christians
poor
can't have
unfortunate
tattoos.
soul on Facebook.
Yeah. So, I mean, I gave
You did great. You were not like this guy was a little belligerent and you handled yourself with class. And I was so impressed by you. I deleted his comment and I messaged you privately and I was just like, "Hey, thank you. My name's Cy. I came here to start a church. What's your name?" Basically. And then you shared with me like, we've been trying to find a church. And so next thing you know, me and Monica and the kids are getting brunch with you guys.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you ended up having a house. You just built a house across the street from my brother who was just moving in. So it was crazy. It was definitely
crazy.
Another God
Absolutely
alignment thing.
Absolutely. I just love that story. All from a tattoo. So
All from a tattoo. Who knew you were going to spark some huge debate?
I'm telling you. So our church says that 3 gatherings lead to the Made for More life. We talk about the worship gathering, the home gathering, and the mission gathering. And the first 2 are pretty easy to understand what they mean. Like worship gathering, you go to a worship service and you worship. You sing the songs, you listen to the sermon, you say communion, and then you connect with other Christians. Like that's what the worship gathering is. And the home gathering also makes sense. During the week or a night of the week or whenever you have a group of people in a home or a restaurant or something, 8 to 18 people, and you discuss and you talk and you wrestle through life and you support each other and care for each other. Those make sense. The mission gathering is a little ethereal. It's a little hard to kind of get your arms around. So that's why we're doing these For the One stories, because we're trying to show people this is what it means to partake in the mission gathering. And the mission gathering is all about going out into the world. We call that the harvest field from Matthew 9:38. That everybody has a harvest field, has a circle, has an intersection in their life, a circle of influence where they are uniquely placed, where they live, work, learn, and play to be a blessing in that place. Okay, to love people in that place, to show people Jesus in that place, to be a light in that place. So what has been your journey with the idea of sharing your faith, of loving and blessing those that are close to you but far from God, of working a harvest field? Like, what's your journey been?
Well, I believe that loving around you is the best way of spreading God's love. And my journey has been that right now, it's so hard with this. Honestly, it's a hate-filled world. And as soon as you start loving somebody, it changes their whole outlook. It's crazy how much just showing somebody a little bit of love and listening to them and asking questions and not throwing your advice in their face just changes their outlook and their perspective. It doesn't take much more than just listening and showing them how much you care.
Yeah. I love you said listening like 4 times. And I don't think people understand the power of that. Like,
Yeah.
people just want someone to be present with them and hear them.
Yeah. And the advice portion, like, you really, like, you don't need to tell them what to do, because they get enough of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's, as soon as you listen and you ask questions, it is completely different for them. I think most people tell me, I've heard so many heartfelt stories simply because I sat down and listened to them, you know? One of my favorite things to do is Halloween. I love Halloween. I make it, we are the pit stop of the neighborhood. I do hot dogs. I give out books. I do king-size candy bars, and I throw a projector out that has a game for everybody to play. And the adults relish in the idea that their kid is just staying in one spot and eating food and not trick-or-treating for the moment. And a lot of the time, I think I've had the most heart-to-heart conversations on Halloween. And they all are so grateful that I just sit and listen. And that's all I do on Halloween, really, is I sit down and I listen to all these people, and I hear so many life stories on Halloween. I think it's really special that, like, our community knows that they can come here and have a safe spot that they can rest for a minute before they go back out and trick or treat some more. But we, like I said, we give out books on Halloween, and this last year I put out 2 different kinds of Bibles. I put out a comic book Bible and I put out a kids Bible. And I put out, I mean, a ton of books that are just all children's books that talk about morals or whatever. And the first books gone this year were the Bibles. I couldn't believe it. Like, I just put it out as like a experiment just to see, like, if they would even be taken. And sure enough, they were the first books gone. And one of the kids was like a middle school student, and he ran up to his mom with the comic book Bible and was like, Mom, look what I got. This is so cool. And it was so awesome.
Wow. That's one of our values, is that your future will surprise you. And so, like, doing this kind of stuff, like, do you find yourself surprised often?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And I mean, sometimes I'll throw something out there because I got nothing to lose. I'm like, hey, you want to come to a want to come to a Bible study? Like, I know this person a little bit. I've talked to them a little bit. Figure why not? You know, like, nothing lost, you know? If you want to come, you want to come. If you don't, like, I don't harbor any hard feelings, you know? Like, you're not ready, you're not ready. But a couple days ago, I had somebody over, and they were picking something up from me. And I was like, hey, I'm hosting this Bible study. Like, would you be interested? And she goes, yeah, actually I would. And I was like, I wasn't actually surprised. I was actually expecting you to say yes.
Wow.
So sometimes, like, I'll just throw something out there and it hits, you know, like spaghetti on the wall, it sticks. And you're like, all right, okay.
Didn't expect that.
Expecting that.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that people, you know, and you get told no, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get told
I
no.
do get told no, and and that's okay too. You know, I think part of it also is that when you get told no, you don't hold it against them. Like, there's nothing, like, I really don't mind if you tell me no, and I won't, like, burden them with over questioning them a million times either. You know, like, if you say no, like, I respect that. Like, I don't mind you telling me no either, you know?
That's interesting. There's this guy I was listening to one time on a podcast, and he talked about how when you share your faith or talk to people that don't know Jesus yet, that you should not go into any conversation having an agenda for anyone else besides you. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you have an agenda for them, then they are a project, and you're just trying to, you know, get them to. You're a salesman. at the end of the day. He goes, but if if all you do is have an agenda for yourself, which is for me practicing my faith, is for me to invite, to be hospitable, to love, and to bless people around me, then me inviting someone to a Bible study, whether or not they say yes or no, I have fulfilled the agenda I had, which was to practice my faith and to love people and pursue people. And that seems like that's kind of your mentality. It's like, I asked, that's my job. And then whatever happens, I still love them and I'll treat them different because I care about them and I want to bless them. And I think this Bible study would bless them. They say, no, that's fine. But that's such a good attitude. Over the years, you've developed this. Like, this is something that I can tell is like oozes out of you. What have been the obstacles that have gotten in the way in the past from you pursuing the one, from you having eyes for the one and caring for the one?
Man, there's so, like, truly, it's, the obstacles are numerous if you let them be. Like, you can always have another one but I mean, right now, the four that I think that were my biggest ones was fear they would judge my faith, fear they would judge me for my faith, fear of not having the answers, and the biggest one for me truly was fear of insulting them. Because I never want to insult somebody, like that is something that I really care about the people around me, and it hurts my heart if I hurt them, so that has always been something that when I talk to somebody, I really try not to insult them, and your faith is something so personal to you that when you think about sharing it with somebody else and them getting insulted because they think that they're, for any reason that has to do with religion, it feels harsh. Like you don't want to push somebody and make them feel hurt for something that you said or did,
Yeah.
So
how did you, I mean, all of those were fear.
Yeah.
So how did
exactly.
you overcome the fear,
Well, the first one, I realized that I want them to judge my faith. Like I was like, you know what? I want them to judge it. Christianity's been around for 2,000 years. It's been debated by 1 million people, more than 1 million people. And the answer that they want is out there. If they want to judge my faith, like, bring it on,
Yeah.
So that one I figured out. I was like, I want them to judge my faith. And then the third one, with not having the answers, I figured out, like, I know where to look, like I know the books, I know the resources to look for, I know who to ask, I know where to go for the answers. And a lot of the time these people don't know where to go, where to look, and I can be a bridge for that, So honestly, if I don't have the answer, it makes me happy because I can look for the answer and I can help them find the answer, and I can look for new resources if I need to, Yeah.
Which, it's interesting that not knowing the answers actually forces you to grow deeper in your faith.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that's a great question. I've never thought of that question before. If you hadn't been sharing your faith, someone hadn't asked it, you wouldn't have realized you didn't know that. Now you're aware of something that you don't know. Yeah. And now that forces you to now go find answers for things that now deepens your faith. And so sharing your faith and not knowing answers is actually a huge part of you growing in your faith, which is super cool. It feels backwards, but it actually leads you deeper.
Yeah.
Ignorance does, right? You like, get this, you already didn't know that. Now you're aware you don't know it. And that's a good thing.
Yep.
And what about the fourth one? What was the fourth one you said? The fourth fear?
Insulting them.
Oh, yeah.
There are times that the conversations you have with people are really intimate, and they ask questions that are so personal that giving them a light remark just doesn't cut it. Like, just saying something that's going to gloss over the top of it just doesn't cut it. So that's when I have to risk it sometimes. I try, I try to be really careful and light-footed. But usually when the things are said with love and they see that the conversation isn't tainting the love that you have for them, like that is the most important part. When they see that you love them, like in spite of their flaws, like that's when the conversation still it still goes well. But when they realize that your past doesn't define you is when things really, the conversation usually goes deeper. They don't usually get insulted. If they know that you're really loving them and your heart is in the right place, you're not giving them advice that is judgmental, then it usually seems to go well.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of that like phrase, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right?
Yeah.
And so when they know how much you care, it's like, no, I actually want to know what you think about this because I know that you love me and care about me. That's good. So you are a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids under the age of 3?
Yep, because he just turned 3.
Okay, so 3 and under. And and you have figured out how to do that, which is a crazy busy season, and to pursue people far from God.
I don't know if that's out.
Well, you're doing it. You are being, I would say you're being faithful in joining Jesus in this work. So what does that look like for you right now? I mean, you've gotten really practical about it. What does that look like for you?
It means living life with the people around you.
Yeah.
I found that here in Naples specifically, there's a lot of people who are looking for friends, because they've moved from other places, they don't have connections, or even people who have lived here a long time and like their friends have moved away, or they just don't feel connected to people. So one of the things that I started doing was just looking for friends because I needed friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was looking for me. And as I started looking for friends, I started like gathering all of these people who just needed other people to talk to, because I did too. Like I was looking for people that I needed friends to talk to. So I started talking to all these people, and as time has gone on,
how did you? So to interrupt you, sorry. How did you do that? You found these other people. Wasn't it through an app?
Yep.
Okay.
Peanut. Yeah, Peanut is for moms specifically.
Yeah.
So I've been able to reach out to these moms on Peanut, and make connection with them. I mean, it's kind of like Tinder for moms looking for friends.
I was so hoping you would say that. You said you swipe which way?
Yeah, swipe left, swipe right.
Oh my gosh.
It's totally a swipe left, swipe right situation, but it's
That's
very
hilarious.
Funny. It's for moms looking for friends.
And you did this and found friends.
Yeah.
So you've and tell me since then you would do like meetups at parks, right? And just do play dates with the kids and the moms.
So usually it starts off with you message the person, you talk about their day, talk about what they've been up to, what they've like what they're thinking about, what they're doing. And once you find similar interests, usually the hardest part is coming up with the very first like couple days worth of conversation. Like I usually ask like, what have you done today? Like, what are you excited about today? What are your kids up to? Because, like everybody wants to talk about that. And once you start that initial conversation, that's when things start to really click with people. Then you go out and you go to a park and you meet up in a public spot where your kids can run around and play and you can have conversation with this other mom. Usually with moms, it's really hard to have conversations with them during play dates though, because your eyes and your ears are on your kids. And so usually after I meet somebody in a public place, I'll invite them over to my home so that their kids can play in a safe spot and we can really have an actual conversation. So I've got lots of things that kids can play with in my backyard. We've got bounce houses and we've got like water play toys and that sort of thing. And the kids can go ham while we can have like real conversations, you know? So.
And you're doing this weekly? I mean, you are having, don't you have a night dedicated to having people in your home?
Yeah, so right now I have a Friday night thing with like one specific friend that comes over weekly. And our kids just click really well and they have become best friends. They go everywhere together, they hold hands and they like run across the playground together. Their names are extremely similar and they just love each other. They are like best friends for life, I think. They've just clicked so well. They're like the same age and they just adore each other. So it has been, I've been able to really connect with this person and have conversations that are really specific and heart to heart. And she's asked me some really hard conversations. We've had Bible studies where we are reading the book of Mark together. So really I just spend time getting to know her heart, getting to know her family. So
I want to just point out to people, like, what you're talking about is not difficult.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, well, let me say it, it's not complex, right?
Yeah.
You are talking about meeting people, being genuinely interested in their lives and caring for them and listening to them. And then you invite them to your home and pursue hospitality and you eat with them.
Yeah.
And then from that, they feel loved.
Yeah.
Cared for, valued, and that consistently creates open doors for you to talk about your faith.
Yeah. Celebrate the milestones is like one of my biggest things, truly. Like you celebrate the holidays, you celebrate the milestones, birthdays, celebrate the things that are really hard for them. Potty training. Goodness. In my current situation, potty training is the biggest thing. You get your kid trained on the potty and you like celebrate. So go buy a cupcake and give them a cupcake for when they, you know, like that kid is getting celebrated on the like when they go potty. Celebrate the mom who just like spent all that time getting that kid to go potty on the potty, you know? Go get a cupcake.
That's good.
Give it to them and say, hey, you did it. Congratulations. Right.
Celebrate the milestones. I love that. Yeah. That's really, really good. That's rich. So like, two more questions to be done. How would you encourage other people who, you know, stay-at-home moms, other people who are new to faith, who have not joined in on Jesus' mission of pursuing the one close to them but far from God? How would you encourage them?
Get to know your neighbors. You know, I know so many people who just don't know their neighbors' names. Know their names, know their dogs' names, celebrate life. Truly, like the hardest thing is starting. You know, like the hardest thing is going up to them and saying, hey, my name is, what's yours? You know, like for some reason, the first contact with people is always the hardest. Once you take that step, things get easier. You know, like you start talking to them about what makes them happy in life, what makes them sad, what gives them joy, what what are the hard things in their life. Those things all come with time. You just need to start somewhere, you know, like start with your names. You know?
No, that's gold. Starting somewhere. Take the first step. That's out of your comfort zone into the uncomfortable zone, and that's the growth zone, you know. And that's good. Okay, last word. What's your last word for us? Favorite quote, something you've been wrestling through, you want to leave with us today?
Well, you said that the thing that I said the most was listen.
Hmm.
You know, I said it 4 times in one little refrain there, and I'll say it again. The hardest thing to do is listen and not give advice. Once you start listening and asking questions that are, I heard somebody say, I was watching something on Instagram or something, and he said, if you really want to get to know somebody, just repeat the last 3 words that they said in a question form. And I was like, that is gold. You know, all you need to do is repeat the last 3 words that somebody said as a question, and they will, as like a continuation of what they're already saying, they will just continue on talking. You know, like it's just part of human nature to fill in the gap. Once they know that you're interested in talking, they'll automatically just continue talking themselves, you know? So if you really want to get to know somebody, just repeat what they said in a form of a question.
That's ingenious. I'm going to have to try that. I'm
Right?
going to go out right after this. I'm going to go try that with Monica and see if she feels more heard.
Do it.
Well, Elle, thank you so much for your time today. And I know that your story is going to help others know that this life, joining Jesus in this work, is possible. It's available to anyone, no matter what they're going through, what season of life that they're in, that they can do this. So thank you for sharing your story with us today. Really, really appreciate it. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cy Huffer and Friends. You can follow us along for more of these stories and other content at our Instagram account at Cy Huffer and Friends on Apple and Spotify podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel. And always remember that you are made for more, so don't settle for anything less. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time.